Hi, so in the last video we discussed autosomal aberrations, right? Chromosomal aberrations in general. We discussed mutations. Today we will be discussing heteroploidy. So heteroploidy. Ploidy basically means the sets of chromosomes that you have, number of sets of chromosomes that you have. So let's talk about humans. Humans have 46 chromosomes, which basically means we have it in 23 pairs. So we have our 2n number is 46. So we have 23 types of chromosomes in 2 sets. Then 2 is our ploidy. We are diploid in general, right? Heteroploidy means to vary from a diploid situation. Usually sexually reproducing organisms are diploid in nature. Therefore, if there is a shift from this diploid nature, then we call it heteroploidy. Heteroploidy can be of two types, euploidy and aneuploidy. Euploidy refers to a condition in which the set number has differed, but it is still in whole numbers. So it can be monoploid, haploid or polyploid. Haploid basically means to have half the set. So for humans, N is 23, that's our haploid number. Right? Monoploid means to have one single set. Now, if you take the example of humans again, our two sets are 46, therefore a single set N will be 23. So basically, for diploid organisms, haploid and monoploid are the same thing. Means the same. So whatever is haploid, so because you have two sets, half is one, mono also means one, right? So for both of them are essentially, they mean the same thing. However, if I am talking about an organism which is naturally, let's say, tetraploid in nature, 4n, then if an organism is naturally tetraploid, this is the usual circumstance, then for it the haploid would become 2n diploid, and for it the monoploid will still be n. So then haploid and monoploid will be different, correct? However, for ploidy in which there is monoploidy, haploidy happening, organisms can propagate via vegetative reproduction. Okay. Coming on to polyploidy, that basically means to have more than two sets, correct? So anything like triploid, so 3n, tetraploid, 4n, pentaploid, 5n, hexaploid, 6n, all of these are polyploids, right? Now, one thing that has to be noted is that if it is in odd numbers like triploids, pentaploids, heptaploids, because now for each chromosome they have 3 sets. 2 of them can do recombination, but the one can't. In such cases, odd number ploidies are sexually sterile. Because they are sexually sterile and animals are incapable of doing vegetative, higher animals are incapable of doing vegetative reproduction, therefore it is seen that polyploidy is mostly common in plants, extremely common in plants. For example, a very common example would be the triploid state, right? 3n or triploid state happens after what? Happens after as a result of triple fusion in plants, and this results in the formation of the endosperm. So endosperm in plants is naturally triploid in nature. However, any other organism that has a triploid or a pentaploid kind of organization, they are sexually sterile. They are infertile. They cannot do sexual reproduction, and therefore this kind of polyploidy is seen to be mostly common in plants. Another thing that is notable here is that for monoploids or haploids, because obviously they have half the number of chromosomes or a single set of chromosomes, therefore the dominant set is reduced in number. The genes present which are dominant on a chromosome are lesser in number. Therefore, these organisms are usually seen to be smaller in structure. However, polyploids now, in 2n, let's say we have 2 dominant alleles. In 4n, we have 4 dominant alleles. Correct? So now, because there is an excess of dominant alleles in this kind of conditions, there is a effect that we see which is known as the zygous effect. The zygous effect refers to a condition in polyploid organisms where the organisms are larger, they have more biochemical activity as well because of the presence of excess dominant alleles. Right? Moving on to aneuploidy. Aneuploidy means to have less than or more than the 2n number of chromosomes. Okay. One of the main reasons why aneuploidy happens is known as a disjunction of chromosome or non-disjunction actually. What is disjunction of chromosomes? Disjunction of chromosomes is that when in meiosis, if this is let's say we will draw an organism where 2n number is just 2. Okay, so then this is the homologous chromosome. They do in prophase 1 of meiosis. They undergo all sorts of recombination that they have to do. So they form the synaptonemal complex, they undergo recombination, and by the end of it, so let's say if this was the homologous pair, you have a recombined pair, something like this, which in the metaphase will be, so I'll draw it here only, in metaphase will be separated like this, like so. So this is the plane of separation. So where one chromosome will go to one cell, the other will go to other cell. Each individual cells will now have a haploid 1 chromosome. Correct? So that is disjunction of chromosomes, equal distribution of chromosomes during meiotic separation. In non-disjunction, what happens is that in non-disjunction of chromosomes, let's rub this off and see what non-disjunction does. In non-disjunction of chromosomes, instead of forming 2 haploid cells, the chromosomes fail to separate. Right? So now you have 2n and here you have 0. Correct? So what happens basically is that in organisms with let's say 46 chromosomes, one is formed with n plus 1, the other is formed with n minus 1. Right? So one has the whole diploid set for any one given chromosome, one gamete, the other gamete has only 1. Correct? In such cases, if this is the case, and now let's say it fuses with a normal cell, normal gamete, then you have a 2n plus 1 condition or a 2n minus 1 condition. So what happens is that they have 46 minus 1 or they have 46 plus 1 chromosomes. Why? Because here instead of having 23, it had 23 plus 1 or it had 23 minus 1 chromosomes. That is what gives rise to your aneuploidy. Aneuploidy can be of 2 types. It can be either hypoploidic. Hypoploidic means less than the 2n number of chromosomes, and hyperploidy means more than the 2n number of chromosomes. So monosomy is this condition where either one of the gametes was containing less than 23 chromosomes. So For any one given chromosome, there was no copy of it in the gamete, correct? And therefore, what you end up having is 2n minus 1 composition. That is, it's a 45 chromosome state of being. Similarly, if I consider that a n minus 1 and the n minus 1 fuses, then you will have a 2n minus 2 condition, which is nullisomic. Please don't go with algebraic laws here. It basically means that you will get a diploid set, but that will miss 2 chromosomes, right? Now this usually can happen that they have 2 separate sets of chromosomes missing or the same diploid set missing, okay? Then it becomes nullisomic, that is a 44 chromosome state of being, again problematic. Yeah. If the opposite end of the spectrum happens, this spectrum, right, where the n plus 1 cell ended up fusing with a normal gamete, then you get something which is known as trisomy. So now you have 47 total chromosomes, 1 extra. Very, very good example is trisomy 21, which happens during Down syndrome. The 21st chromosome is non-disjuncted. It usually happens in the maternal system, usually when when females get pregnant post the age of 35, certain eggs fail to undergo disjunction, and in such cases chromosome 21 often is found to be in a trisomic condition in the zygote. This leads to diseases obviously, and if again n plus 1, so if both the parents tend to have non-disjunction, then you have a 2n plus 2 condition. In this condition, you have 48 of total chromosomes, again 2 more than the normal set. All of these conditions are extremely dangerous and can cause different kinds of diseases like Tay-Sachs, like Cri-du-Chat, Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, and all of them then become a problematic condition. I hope this much was clear. We will continue with diseases in the next video. Thank you.